The case study I chose for analysis today was McDonald's Meet the Farmers campaign taken back in 2012. This case study was also found in chapter 15 of our viral media textbook. To start off, this case discusses McDonald's initial social media campaign starting in 2012, originating from Twitter, from social media coordinator Rick Weon's attempt to try and just increase engagement for their customers at McDonald's. The campaign was directed to try and show the transparency of their food quality that they provide for their customers, and in their way of trying to do that, it was by having interviews set up with local farmers that work with McDonald's themselves to try and have customers understand more about some of the people that are working for their company. The campaign began with a Meet the Farmers hashtag, and this began with just preliminary interviews and documentary style videos showing some of the farmers that work with them and explaining their experiences while being in partnership with McDonald's. After the initial hashtag, it was planned to do a promoted trend to change it to McD Stories as the hashtag to then increase the reach of what they wanted. While preliminary tests did go well, after they changed the hashtag to McD Stories, they received numerous negative comments about McDonald's themselves, the cleanliness of their franchises, and the overall brand of the store. McDonald's was then forced to change their hashtag back to Meet the Farmers, where they thought everything was all well, and even though they thought it was a failure, they thought everything was okay. It eventually happened that the next week in the news media cycle, they kept getting negative publicity about their social media fiasco that happened. So there's many intriguing points to this that I kind of want to point out. First, I was just intrigued by Mr. Wynn's approach to his campaign, specifically with his design on the hashtags. I was opposed from changing the hashtag to McD Stories in the first place, because the Meet the Farmers hashtag for their preliminary was very successful. And with that opportunity, McDonald's was then able to become the middleman between the customers that they want to value, as well as the farmers who work for them, and able to get a middle class type of feel and bring a connection with the customers to the people who work for the company. When you change the hashtag to McD Stories, most of these viewers are only then going to think about the company and not the small town people that work for them. And this could lead to more open risks for, constant belittlement of your company, as well as not understanding the experiences that your customers have had based on the number of franchises that you have in the world. While technically the campaign was a failure, any kind of publicity is still good publicity. In 2012, Twitter was just beginning to break into the world of media ads and working with companies. And McDonald's media cycle itself also created more engagement from the 72,000 engagements they received on the day they had the McD Stories hashtag, which was over 150% increase from their previous standard social media engagement. While Weon stated that he needed to go back and revise his social media strategies after this fiasco, I think for the time period considered, he was still very ahead of the game for many other social media managers, especially for large brands. And this case study itself can just be an awakening to really assessing all of the risks and advantages you have before you want to engage in a social media